Imagine a world where the most critical, life-saving surgeries aren't performed by human hands. Picture an operating room where the scalpel moves with a precision beyond any human tremor, guided by an intelligence that can see through flesh. A world where a diagnosis isn't a weeks-long mystery, but a split-second analysis of a million data points. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is the very next chapter of our lives. We are standing at the edge of a medical revolution, and it's not just coming from doctors in white coats. It's coming from engineers, coders, and roboticists. They are building a new kind of healer, one made of metal, silicon, and algorithms. But here's the wild part. This isn't about replacing us. It's about augmenting us. It's about pushing the boundaries of human care into territories we once thought were impossible. Let's start in the most high-stakes environment imaginable, the operating room. For over a century, surgery has been a story of human skill, of steady hands and keen eyes. But human hands, no matter how skilled, have limits. They tremor. They fatigue. They are limited by the very anatomy of the wrist. Now step into a modern robotic surgery suite. The patient is prepped. The surgeons are there, but they're not standing over the patient. They're seated at a console, their hands placed in delicate controls. What they see is mind-blowing. They aren't looking directly at the patient. They are looking into a high-definition, 3D visual field that feels like being inside the body itself. Their hands. Their movements are translated, filtered, and scaled. A large movement at the console becomes a microscopic movement inside the patient. The tremor is digitally erased. The robotic arms, with their tiny instruments, can rotate in ways the human wrist simply cannot. They can suture a blood vessel thinner than a strand of hair. But here's the crazy cool part. This is just the first generation. The robots we have now are incredibly sophisticated tools, but they are still tools. The surgeon is in full control. The future, the one being built in labs from Silicon Valley to Boston, is something else entirely. We're talking about autonomous surgical robots, machines that don't just follow a surgeon's command, but can plan and execute certain procedures on their own. Think about a routine cataract surgery, one of the most common procedures in the world. An autonomous robot, guided by cameras and AI that map the eye in real time. This could perform the delicate removal and replacement of the lens with a consistency that is superhuman. It never gets tired. It never has an off day. For standardized, repetitive parts of complex surgeries, these systems could take over, allowing the human surgeon to focus on the big picture, critical decision-making. The implications for scaling care, for bringing world-class surgical precision to remote field hospitals, or even a spacecraft on a mission to Mars, are staggering. But the story of robotics in healthcare doesn't end in the OR. It walks the hallways. It sits by the bedside, lives in our homes. Walk through a hospital at night, and you might see a quiet, sleek cart gliding down the hallway, dodging a stray laundry bin, taking the elevator to another floor. This is a logistics robot. It's delivering medications from the pharmacy with perfect accuracy. It's ferrying lab samples to pathology, never dropping them, never mislabeling them. It's doing the unglamorous, essential work that keeps a hospital running, freeing up nurses and technicians for the human-to-human care that machines can never provide. Then there are the robots of rehabilitation. For a patient recovering from a stroke or a spinal cord injury, the road back is grueling, repetitive, and often lonely. Now imagine a robotic exoskeleton. It's a framework of motors and sensors that a patient straps onto their legs. With the therapist guiding the process, this robot can do something beautiful. It can reteach the brain how to walk. It provides just enough support, just enough resistance to help the patient's own muscles and neural pathways remember. It turns a frustrating, exhausting hour of therapy into a quantifiable, progressive session, where every step is measured, every ounce of improvement is recorded. This isn't just assistance, it's active, intelligent recovery. And what about the most precious resource in any hospital? Human attention? Nurses are the backbone of healthcare, but they are stretched thin. They juggle countless tasks. Enter the patient care assistant robots. These machines might not look like the androids from movies. They might be simple mobile platforms with a screen and a few arms. But what they can do is profound. They can take vitals temperature, blood pressure, oxygen levels, and instantly upload them to a patient's digital chart. They can help lift a patient from a bed to a chair, reducing back injuries for staff and preserving the dignity of the patient. They can even provide simple companionship, reminding a patient to take their pills, or offering a friendly, familiar face for a check-in via video call with a doctor. Which leads us to the silent, invisible force that is supercharging all of this: artificial intelligence. This is the brain behind the brawn. If robots are the new hands of healthcare, AI is its new nervous system, its new set of eyes. Let's talk about diagnostics. For generations, diagnosing a disease has been a detective story. A doctor pieces together clues, symptoms, lab results, medical images. It's an art and a science, but it's limited by human experience. A doctor might see thousands of chest x-rays in a career. An AI system can analyze millions in an afternoon. It can be trained to spot the faintest shadow, the most subtle pattern that signals the early stages of pneumonia or a tumor so small it's invisible to the human eye. Here's a wild example. Researchers are training AI to look at retinal scans. To us, it's a picture of the back of an eye, but to the AI, it's a window into a person's entire health. By analyzing the tiny blood vessels in the retina, these algorithms are learning to predict not just eye diseases, but the risk of cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes. They are finding signals in places we never thought to look. In pathology, the art of examining tissue samples under a microscope to diagnose cancer, AI is becoming a powerful partner. A pathologist might take minutes to scan a slide, looking for rogue cells. An AI can do it in seconds, and with astonishing accuracy, highlighting areas of concern for the human expert to review. This isn't about making the pathologist obsolete. It's about giving them a superpowered second opinion, ensuring nothing is missed. In the race against cancer, that speed and accuracy can be the difference between a simple procedure and a devastating prognosis. But you won't believe this part. The future of AI diagnostics is moving beyond analysis and into prediction. It's moving from "what do you have?" to "what are you going to get?" By crunching enormous datasets or genetics, your medical history, your lifestyle data from a smartwatch, even environmental factors, AI models are inching towards predictive healthcare. You could flag a patient as high risk for diabetes years before the first symptom appears, allowing for preventative lifestyle changes that could stop the disease in its tracks. This shifts the entire paradigm from reactive sickness care to proactive wellness care. So we have these incredible machines and these brilliant algorithms. But the real magic, the truly transformative vision, happens when they converge. When the robot's precision meets the AI's perception. This is where we get a glimpse of the future. Imagine an AI radiologist that detects a suspicious mass on a CT scan. Instantly, it cross-references the patient's records and genetics. It calculates probabilities, then communicates not with a human, but with a surgical planning AI. Together, they map out the optimal, least invasive surgical approach to biopsy, that exact spot. They create a perfect 3D model of the patient's anatomy. This plan is then loaded into a robotic surgical system. The surgeon is still there in command. But they are now equipped with a battle-tested strategy formulated by a collective intelligence that has seen more cases than 100 lifetimes of surgeons. Or consider the emergency room of the future. A trauma patient comes in, unconscious. A swarm of diagnostics happens at once. Robotic arms draw blood, which is analyzed by an automated lab. Imaging robots perform rapid low-dose scans. All this data floods into an AI triage system that assesses the injuries, prioritizes treatment, and alerts the relevant human specialists, all before the patient has even been fully wheeled in. It's a symphony of human and machine, where seconds saved are lives saved. Of course, this brave new world doesn't come without hard questions. It's not all awe and wonder. There's a tension here, a mystery we have to solve together. Who is responsible if an autonomous surgical robot makes an error? The programmer? The hospital? The company that built it? How do we ensure these technologies don't become luxuries for the wealthy, creating a bigger gap in healthcare equality? Can an algorithm truly understand the nuance of human pain, the fear in a patient's eyes? Will the constant presence of machines in care make medicine feel colder, more impersonal? And perhaps the biggest question of all, where do we as humans draw the line? What is the sacred ground that should always be tended by a human hand? A robot can deliver a pill, but can it deliver compassion? An AI can recommend a treatment, but can it sit with a family and deliver a devastating prognosis with empathy? The answer, at least for the world we can see ahead, is no.
8.
The heart of healthcare will always be human. The trust, the connection, the healing presence. That's our domain. The robots and the AIs are here to handle the tasks, the data, the superhuman precision, so that our doctors and nurses can be more human, not less. So what's next? Where is this all leading? We are heading towards a world of hyper-personalized medicine. Your treatment plan won't be based just on the average patient with your disease. It will be based on your unique biology, your lifestyle, even your microbiome. Robots will prepare your personalized medications on demand. AI will monitor your health in real time through wearable sensors, nudging you with a reminder to take a walk if it sees your stress hormones spiking. We're heading towards the democratization of expertise. A brilliant surgical AI trained at a top hospital in New York can be downloaded to a robotic system in a rural clinic in Kansas or a field hospital in a disaster zone. Suddenly, world-class procedural knowledge is everywhere. And we are, believe it or not, heading towards a form of digital immortality for medical skill. The techniques, the decision trees, the nuanced moves of the world's greatest surgeons and diagnosticians can be captured, studied, and preserved in code, teaching future generations and assisting current ones. We began this journey imagining a scalpel held not by a hand, but by a machine. It seemed cold, distant, maybe even frightening, but look closer. That machine is holding the scalpel, so a surgeon, unburdened by fatigue, can operate for hours and save a life they might have lost. That AI is staring at a scan so a doctor can spend more time staring into the eyes of the person in front of them, listening, connecting. This isn't a story about technology taking over. It's a story about technology giving us back something we've been losing: time, focus, and perhaps a bit of our own humanity. It's about building partners in healing. The future of healthcare isn't a choice between human and machine. The most powerful healing force we can possibly create lies in the space between them. In the collaboration, in the awe-inspiring moment where human compassion is amplified by a precision we never dreamed possible. The new healers are here, and they're waiting for us to show them what it means to care.